My parents have never really hidden the fact that they prefer my sister over me. I'm in my late 20s now, and even as an adult it still stings in ways I wish it didn't. Growing up it was obvious. She was the golden child, the one they bragged about to extended family, the one whose report cards got framed on the fridge. Meanwhile, I was creative or different, which were just nicer ways of saying they didn't really get me, or maybe didn't want it. For context, my sister followed the path my parents always imagined for their kids. She got straight A's, joined all the right clubs, went to a fancy private college, and then went to grad school right after. She's in a professional career that looks really impressive on paper. Every holiday, my parents make some new comment about her achievements. They'll bring up her recent work project or her plans to buy a house with her fiancé. And then there's me. I wasn't bad at school, but I didn't shine the way she did. I went to a state school because it was affordable. I changed majors twice before settling on something more practical than passionate. After college, I bounced around jobs for a while, worked in retail, then in an office where the pay was fine but not life-changing. My parents acted like every detour or pause was proof that I wasn't as disciplined or ambitious as my sister. They would say things like, "We just want to see you settle down," or "Don't you want to make something of yourself?" It wasn't until my mid-20s that I really found something I loved and was good at. I discovered coding through an online course and then started freelancing. At first it was just side projects, but eventually I realized I could make it a full-time thing. I taught myself through free resources, joined communities online, and took on as many gigs as I could. I had months where I barely scraped by, but then I had months where the income shocked me. Slowly it started to even out, and I realized I was making a solid living. I didn't tell my family much about it, because honestly they never asked. They assumed I was still figuring things out or working some entry-level job. If I tried to explain what I did, they would nod, but their eyes would glaze over. At one point my dad even said, "Hopefully you'll find a real career soon." That stuck with me. So I stopped trying to justify myself and just focused on building my business. Over the last year, things really took off. I landed steady contracts with a few companies and built some passive income on the side from templates and tools I created. I was putting in long hours, but it paid off. I managed to pay off my student loans in one lump sum. I built a savings cushion I never thought I'd have. And by the end of the year, when I finally sat down to do taxes and add everything up, I realized I had made just over $94,000. It felt unreal. Meanwhile, my parents kept treating me like I was barely keeping afloat. Over Christmas, they started up again with the comparisons. My sister had just announced she was engaged and planning a big wedding, so everything was about her. At dinner, my mom made some comment about how proud she was of my sister's accomplishments, how she was such a strong woman. Then she looked at me and said, "You could be half the woman she is if you just focus more." I laughed because I honestly didn't know what else to do. That laugh must have set something off because my dad followed it up with, "We just want to see you succeed, honey. You're capable, but you've always lacked direction." My sister sat there quietly. She never really defends me, but she doesn't join in either. The silence just made me feel smaller. I don't know what came over me, but in that moment I decided I wasn't going to swallow it anymore. I told them point blank that I had made more than $94,000 last year working for myself. I told them I had no debt, I had savings, and that I wasn't just scraping by. The table went quiet. My mom blinked like she hadn't heard me right. My dad asked, "Doing what?" Like he couldn't believe it. I explained briefly, said it was through software work and digital products. My sister gave me this little half smile like she was actually proud of me, but my parents just sat there. Dinner ended awkwardly. Later my mom told me she was glad I was doing okay, but she said it with this tone, like she still didn't fully accept it. My dad hasn't brought it up since. It's like they don't know how to process the fact that the daughter they've underestimated for years is actually doing fine, maybe even better than they expected. I should feel triumphant, but honestly, I just feel tired. I wanted that moment to be freeing, like I finally proved myself, but instead it just highlighted how deep their favoritism runs. They've spent years measuring me against my sister, and one dinner conversation won't change that. I know they love me in their own way, but the constant comparisons have left scars. Since then, I've been thinking a lot about why I even care. I'm financially independent. I live in a city I love. I have good friends, and I'm proud of what I've built. But there's still that little girl inside me who wants her parents to say, "We're proud of you," without a qualifier. I don't know if I'll ever get that. And maybe I need to stop waiting for it. I haven't told them more about my work since that night. I realized I don't owe them every detail. I can keep building my life and my success without their validation. Maybe someday they'll see me clearly, but even if they don't, I know what I've achieved. I'm not half of anything. I'm whole, on my own terms,